afternoon, everybody. I am Lola Moore Johnston, and I'm happy to be here with you for Bloom with Lola Johnston. We just take some time on Tuesday afternoons to talk about what is required for us to be our best selves. And I am just really, really grateful that you've chosen to join. If you're here for the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you for stopping by this video, and you will not be sorry for staying on this video. If you would, please say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Say hello. We always like to be interactive and would be grateful to hear from you. Also, don't be shy about liking and sharing. It helps with the algorithm and gives us an opportunity to be able to share with others and to grow our platform for today. So thank you again for joining. I am really excited about the conversation that we're going to have today with my illustrious guest. I can't wait for you to either be reintroduced to her or to meet her for the first time. She is certainly someone you want to know. But before we move forward, I want to go to our Blooming in the News feature, where we're going to be featuring women who are living out their best lives right in front of us and making us all proud, as well as making God proud. And so today, of course, for Women's History Month, is March the 1st, the month where we get an opportunity to hear phenomenal stories of women who have done incredible things in the world. I'd like to highlight, I want to say attorney, but she is going to be judge, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who has been nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court. And let me make sure I get that all the way together. She has been an attorney, but she is Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's actually a native of Miami and has an incredible story. She will become the first Black woman to ever sit on the Supreme Court bench when she is likely confirmed by the Senate, and will be replacing retiring Justice Stephen Breyer. She will be the third Black person appointed as a Supreme Court judge in history, and the sixth woman. Her confirmation will bring the number of women on the current Supreme Court bench up to 4 out of 9 members, the most ever at one time in history. She is, again, a native of Miami. She's 51 years old. She is a Harvard Law School graduate and Harvard graduate. She's also been a public defender. She's been a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit since June. Early in her career, she worked as a clerk, retiring Judge Stephen Breyer. She worked clerk for retiring Judge Stephen Breyer, the man she'll replace on the Supreme Court. In 2009, she was appointed by President Barack Obama to serve as the vice chair of the U.S. Sentencing Commission, with her work focused on reducing unwarranted sentencing disparities and ensuring sentences were just as appropriate. So we are really happy and proud for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. One story that's been really, really incredible from her time as a high schooler is that she actually went to her guidance counselor and told her guidance counselor that she wanted to go to Harvard. Her guidance counselor responded that her goals really shouldn't be that high. She should aim lower. And not only did she graduate Harvard as an undergrad, she went back for Harvard Law and was, I think, summa cum laude in both of those roles. So we want to say kudos to Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who, by God's grace, will be our newest Supreme Court judge. I tell these stories, I want to share these stories so that each of you know, whether you're a man or a woman, that whatever it is that you set your mind to is not only possible, it's probable, because with God on our side, we can do incredible things. And I think that our guest for today is a person who helps us to know exactly the same thing, that with God, we can do anything. In fact, this lady boss lets us know that we can have it all. She is a person who I've seen grow and just become someone who is out of this stratosphere for a while. And I can't wait for you to hear from her. She's been a guest for our Bloom conference. And now she's going to be a guest here on the podcast. Her message is simple. You can have it all. In a world where you're pushed to choose between your faith, your family, or your career, Ilean would give you the tools you need to go for your wildest dreams with confidence. Ilean is an award winning online business coach, speaker, and entrepreneur. She teaches people around the world how to live empowered lives of success and significance. She's a renowned trainer and motivator, and thanks to her proven success strategies, Ilean has consulted and trained countless coaching clients, from well-known TV personalities, NFL athletes, and speakers to high-powered executives and hardworking students. She practices what she preaches, as seen in her online empire with customers from over 20 countries. She shares her expertise around the world as a regular contributor to Forbes.com and to over 116,000 subscribers in both Spanish and English via her highly sought after training programs. We are so excited after a very brief break where we're going to be able to welcome to this platform, the lady boss herself, Miss Ilean Harris. I cannot wait for you to hear from her. We'll be back in just a second. Lady boss, hello.
Hey.
It is so incredible to have you here today. Let me just say that. And thank you so much, Miss Ilean, for being a guest of Bloom with Lola Johnston. I've asked you backstage, but how are you doing today?
Oh, I am so excited to be here and to support this amazing movement you've got going. Everyone needs to watch this all the time. It is always so jam-packed with value. So thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. And thank you for being here. Everyone, as you're looking, you see that a part of her name tag, you see at Ilean Harris, and she is available across social media platforms using that tag. I also have some email or some web addresses for her that I'll share in a little bit. But this is certainly a person who you want to get to know, a person who you want to follow. As you've heard from her bio, she's doing incredible things, and I can't wait to hear more. Miss Ilean, you say you can have it all. And so many people in this pandemic have come up against these walls and these obstacles that would suggest that they have to scale back their expectations. So, what exactly do you mean when you say you can have it all?
Oh my goodness. If people were telling me my whole life I couldn't have it all, so I wouldn't be shocked at all during a pandemic if then people got even more skeptical, right? When things got a little bit tougher.
Mm.
You know, I think it's actually valid, especially if there are, not so great systems in place, or you just turn on the news and you'll see what I'm talking about, that aren't always happy for other people to have it all. And so I think it's a really, really valid question. But what I consider having it all is not like a storage unit full of things and I have one of everything and I'm just accumulating things. But to me, having it all is giving myself permission to go for goals unapologetically, to allow myself to grow, to be somebody who stands for the and not submits to the or constantly. You could be a singer or a teacher. Why not be a singer and a teacher? Who said that? Where is this rule book we're all bowing down to? And it's a really, really powerful thing when you say to yourself, you can't compete with me because I want you to win too. And that opens so many doors. That frees you from jealousy. That frees you from small thoughts. And sadly, it doesn't free you from fear. But because I believe I can have it all, I do things afraid. So everybody's like, how do you overcome fears? I don't know. Don't ask me because I do things with my knees shaking. And so that's what having it all to me is in the gist, giving yourself that permission that why not you belong in the room. You don't have to be born into something. You can build it, you can live it.
And you know, how many times do we have these moments where we have these committee meetings in our mind as to what it is that we have permission to do? So I can't go back to school right now because I'm too old. So I've determined in my own mind that somehow that I have surpassed the age limitation, even though anybody can sign up for school. I am now too old. It is incredible. And you say, give yourself permission. And I hope somebody heard that today, that you can literally be an audience of one and a committee of one to say, I give myself permission. And even though my
Mhm.
hands are shaking, I'm about to do this. So talk about how you developed that gumption to give yourself permission. Because I know there have been times in my own head where my hand is shaking, like, am I going to really give myself permission to do this? How do you develop that internal, yes, you can?
Sadly, I learned it the hard way. I'm so happy that somebody can listen to this and learn it right here, right now, and choose to accept the information and not find
Mm-hmm.
a problem for every solution. Like I wish I would have had, the Bloom amazing movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bloom
Mm-hmm.
conferences, the Bloom challenge, like so much that's available today just wasn't available to me. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people say, were you being skeptical? No, I wasn't skeptical. I'm just dating myself, right?
Mercy.
I wasn't around when there was, Instagram when I got started,
Mm.
just, to give a general idea. So a lot of things that are the rhetoric now that we take for granted just were not common knowledge to me at all. I was told you go
Wow.
to school, you get good grades, you get a good job. And my goals had to fit within that paradigm, within whatever fit that 9 to 5 schedule, whatever I thought life was supposed to look like. And so I learned it the hard way. When I graduated from school, I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I've got multiple bachelor's degrees. We went to the same school. And when
Yeah.
I got out, yeah, the world decided a lot of us couldn't have it all, right? Big old recession right when I graduated from college. People had more degrees than there were jobs available. I was not looking for a shortcut, but literally what I signed up for was no longer on the menu. So I had to change. And I don't know how many people feel stuck and frustrated when you feel like you do all the right things and it goes wrong. And you're like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
deserve this,
Mm-hmm.
or why me? And you kind of have to get stuck in it. And then I thought to myself, well, I was excited about carrying out my purpose with a job, but my purpose is not a particular job. And I think sometimes
Mm.
we limit ourselves with how we're going to share something, right? With how
Mm-hmm.
we're going to do it. And so that's how I learned the hard way. I had to learn to think differently. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur, never crossed my mind. The neighborhoods I grew up in, being an entrepreneur meant you were breaking all the laws, right? So in my
Oh
head,
my
the
goodness.
right thing to do was to be, in my corporate path and this and that. And that door closed shut. And I think it's so easy to read the story of Noah's Ark and see the impact of when a door is shut, but when it comes to your own life, you keep trying to crack it open. And let me tell you, when certain doors are shut, leave them alone. Go look for a window. Okay, go look for a
Mm.
window. Just let it go, because energy that you can put into moving forward, you're wasting grieving the past. And so that's how I learned the hard way, and I learned with trial and error. And one of the first things I immediately did was figure out what the heck I wanted. For my whole life, I had
Mm.
been told what I wanted. Especially as the daughter of immigrants, I knew what my mission was, and I had to make their sacrifices all worth it. And I had to follow these steps, and I had to do all these things. And I was happy to do it. I wasn't even being rebellious. I was just handed a certain set of options that didn't include my cookie cutter plan anymore. And I sat down and I said, well, what do I really want? What do I really enjoy? And who am I called to be at such a time as this? Who am I to be right now? What do I need to step into? And I knew it wasn't somebody who was just going to sit there and cry forever, and just keep grieving something that, well, it's gone. Sometimes it's just gone and it's over. And you gotta survive now sometimes and cry later. And I don't know if anybody here has ever been in that situation where you just can't sit there and find yourself. You got to make something happen because real life is hitting you. And I'm not trying to upset anyone who is finding themselves, but I'm talking about a deep reality that I was living. And that's the part that you can't see as much on social media, right? It looks so pretty and curated, and you get pretty fonts and this and that. But let me tell you, when the time comes and you have to make tough decisions, you also have to be a tough person to see those decisions come to life. And so once I figured out what I wanted, I found people who had what I wanted, and then I learned what did they do to achieve that. That was a time for me to be extremely coachable, for me to humble myself. I couldn't cash my degrees in the bank. I couldn't really throw it in everyone's face. It really did not matter. What mattered was, am I coachable? And they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Have you guys ever wanted that? Like, I was into gardening when the pandemic started. Suddenly, I knew of all these YouTube channels of gardeners. You would have asked me a week before that, and what is gardening? That would have been me. But when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I started learning and I started growing and I started being open-minded, and I still wasn't getting results. And that's when I was like, oh, I have to implement what I learned because I'm not in school anymore, right? You don't get praised anymore for how well you learn. In the real world, you get what you want out of taking action. And in school, red marks mean you're failing, you're doing something wrong, you missed a step, you didn't learn how you were taught. But sometimes, especially if you open up the Bible, red font means something else, right?
Oh, wait. Okay, I've been letting you do this, and I have not stopped you, but I need to stop you right there. Okay, we have to stop. Did anybody hear that? You got to back it up and run it back. Okay, back it up, run that back through. Oh, that was good. That was good. Please say it again, please.
It is true, right? We've all lived it in one way or the other, where we're so afraid of messing up, and we're so afraid of that red mark of that, oh my goodness, you did this wrong. And yet we read something and we pray over something that literally just embraces people stepping up for what they believe in, questioning the status quo, standing up for what's right, and letting God work through you, right? So don't be afraid of those red marks. Don't be afraid of those slaps life gives you, okay? Before I wore red bottoms, life gave me a red bottom, and I had to truly show up. And so I hope that this really resonates with you guys, because let me tell you, it is so much easier to learn it this way than to learn it how I learned it. And it was that moment where I saw myself, okay, I'm learning a lot and that's great. But when I take action, sometimes it doesn't come out right. Has anybody ever made a Pinterest recipe and what's in front of you, it looks scary to even taste? Like, what did I just make? What is that? It does not look like the picture, but that's how I know what I don't know. You right now do not know what you don't know. You don't even know what the heck you need to pray for until you take action. You are praying for something and you're probably getting it and you're upset. Why don't I have X, Y, and Z? Well, you probably haven't even unlocked the awareness of what exactly you need to pray for and who you need to be in that moment. And simple examples are, everybody wants a huge mansion. Are you taking care of the house you have now? Everybody wants a luxury car. When's the last time you washed the one you have now, right? Everybody wants to dress a certain way. Like, would you even know where you're going to shop? Who would be your dream stylist? Like, guys, let's not just pray for the practical things, right? Let's really glorify God with our goals. Really think big, so that when people say, ooh, whatever she's praying to, whatever she's doing, teach me all of that, because that's working. We need to stop accepting the status quo as the bare minimum, because somehow we can wear the struggle as some sort of badge of honor. Don't sit here praying for pearly gates and all these amazing things and streets of gold, but you scoff at it here now. Use this time now to prepare yourself for the amazing things that are coming. And part of that is just saying to yourself, yeah, I can have it all. And it was actually, I was designed for that. The life you're living now is not what you were designed for. You are designed to truly, truly exemplify, God's image. And it's really, really a beautiful thing once you realize it, because, a lot of times we have really used not achieving things as sort of an excuse for some sense of, I'm so humble, I'm so great, I'm so this and that. And you can be both, right? What I said in the beginning, right? Stands for the and you can handle it. You can be a good steward. You can handle great responsibility. And so that's what I did. I had to learn it the hard way. I didn't have mentorship at the time. I didn't have parents who were experienced in this. They gave me 1,000% of the information they knew, but I had to truly take it to the next level. And sometimes you don't realize that things don't come easier for you because you're the person that's meant to break generational curses in your family.
Oh
And
my
if you are
God.
meant to break generational curses, do not expect an average to-do list. Do not expect things to just come easily. That is not an easy task. And that is in addition to your goals. And I absolutely think that if it's on you, it's because you can handle it as well.
Okay. If you have not shared this, you are selfish. You know somebody who needs to hear what is being said here. Now, come on. You slipped by. You didn't know it. You just saw that Lola was live and then you slid over here. But now you're hearing, you're like, wait, hold on. Go ahead and hit. I'm giving you a second to hear or to hit the share button. Go ahead. Pastor Alexander is sharing with his fiance. Listen, you need to share this. Someone asked a question, Miss Nordia Eichner. She's actually a pastor's wife and also a lioness in women's ministry, and she's asking,
Okay.
how do you find the courage to start? What encouragement do you have for those who know they need to do a thing but they struggle to start?
Oof. First of all, we can all relate. We can all relate. Don't ever feel like you are the only one having this question. And you may have this question depending on the challenge over and over and over again. And so for me, one of the biggest things is I always do things afraid. I do not wait until I feel better, because I have found that my feelings don't always reflect reality. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. Were you ever afraid of asking a favor? And when you asked a favor, it actually wasn't a big deal. The person was like, yeah, sure. I'll do it. No problem. And that whole time you were tormenting yourself, because of it. The second thing I can tell you right now is a deadline married to accountability. A deadline married to accountability will change your life. In 2010-ish, my husband was my boyfriend, and there I was with no career in the recession, just lost and confused out of my mind, and he proposes to me. And that's so sweet and exciting, but I was so worried about the reality of starting life. And when you start your life, you're supposed to have all these boxes checked, right? And you're supposed to do all these things, and I didn't have all those boxes checked. And oh well, I took my last $100, literally, that emptied out my bank account. I don't even know why they kept the account open. I guess they just were like, whatever, keep going, girl. We believe in you. You'll come back with some nickel. But I took my last little bit of money and I ordered wedding invitations, and I sent them out. And I had not reserved the room for the wedding. I had not bought a wedding dress. I didn't have a photographer. There was no cake. I thought worst case scenario, I just put a post-it note and we're going to McDonald's. But I can't live my life that I will be happily married if this and that is possible. This and that is possible. And so guess what that wedding invitation had? It had an address, it had a date, and it had a time. And so guess what I no longer had? I had no time for pity. I had no time for what ifs. I had to make time for what is the most I can do right now. I had time to focus on solutions, not problems. I had time for faith. I did not have time for fear. And if you give space to fear, it will expand, you know? And so they say, you know, water wherever you water the grass, that's where it's going to be greener. There were zero drops for my fears. There were zero drops for the problems. You know what I did? I took my textbooks from school and I traded them on Amazon.com for store credit. With that, I guess I had a lot of books because I had enough to buy a new computer because the other one, goodness, it was a hot mess. I bought business books. I used free internet at Panera Bread. You know, sometimes when people are broke, they have 55 credit cards. I'm talking broke, like free internet at Starbucks, Panera Bread. You know, I was doing what I had to do, and I could $1. I can run with that thing around the block several times out at the grocery store with coupons and money and a calculator. And how can I stretch this the most possible? And guess what? 90 days later, we had built a 6-figure income. We paid for our wedding. We had an awesome wedding that was catered and beautiful. Went on our honeymoon, and then even though I had applied for hundreds and hundreds of jobs, okay, and including like cleaning and housekeeping jobs, I really wasn't being picky or bougie or anything. Literally all doors on the arc closed. The only window that opened was entrepreneurship. And had I not made the choice to be open-minded, I wouldn't have now trained over 100,000 entrepreneurs. I wouldn't have traveled the world speaking. I wouldn't have done all those things. So sometimes you need to see the blessing in your prayer being ignored or answered with a no. Like, I created you for more, come back, try again. Like, you know, don't ask me for that again. You deserve better. And that was the thing. When you have faith, you can bend space and time. When you have faith, you can attract amazing things, and your prayers will allow you and put you in a position to manifest success. But with your action is how you'll be able to actually receive the prayer. So you can go online and order your package. At some point, you still got to get up and open the door, right? And grab the package. And so there is another step to it. And so if somebody's asking me, how do you find the courage? I'll tell you, that experience really opened my eyes, because after that, no matter how hairy, scary, or audacious my goal is, I remember that things can happen when I'm not sure how they're going to happen. Don't worry about the how. You focus on the why. You focus on the what is your part. I did not know what customers were going to buy from me. I was living away from my family because I was going to school. I didn't have my friends near me. Marketing on social media was new. I had no website. I had zero advantages. And it's none of your business to worry about the who, what, when, where, why, how. You show up and you show out, because every single person who's doubting you, who's criticizing you, who's just trying to be a good friend and be so practical and tell you all the things that are going to go wrong, they need you to win the most, more than anyone. Because when they see you, someone who looks like them, who sounds like them, who can resonate with them, they will now believe. So you don't even realize that your belief and you taking action is going to unlock a beautiful future for other people that would have otherwise rolled their eyes at blessings available to them.
Listen, if you're just coming into this, you're going to have to go back, because I'm sitting here in the interview and I'm saying to myself, I need to go back. I'm trying to write notes in the chat so that we don't miss them. And every time I try to write something down, something else slaps me in the face. You need to share this podcast. Listen, this is Dr. Maria who's saying, list all the reasons why you can't. Then ask your brain to give you the answer for, if I could, how would I do it? Ask your brain empowering questions and it will give you empowering answers. You can do it. I love it. And man, one day I have to get you on, Dr. Maria, because her story is incredible as well. She came over from the continent of Africa all the way to California for undergrad, and after some ups and downs, I'm actually going to bring you on. She went to Loma Linda, I believe, for medical school and now is a pediatrician and married to a dentist. I mean, incredible. But she had to believe. And that's why she can say with confidence all of the things that she's saying, because she has lived it, where she has just had to have that belief in her mind that this is what she was going to do, and that's what happened. And understand, like she says, be an example of what is possible. So now when I call her name, now when I call Ilean Harris, now when I call my own name, when I call, look at who's in the chat, when I call Lieutenant Commander Adrian Benton, then we can all talk about these are examples of what is possible. When I call Tracy Reese Reed, we know what is possible. When I call Nordia Eichner, we are examples of what is possible. And so I just, man, what if we just made our life's why to be an example of what's possible? Oh my goodness. Just saying that I am going to be the poster child for what's possible. If I do that, Pastor Alicia, then I come to a place where people are consistently looking at me and they're saying, wow, is that what's possible? Yup, I'm going to be the example of what's possible. Oh my goodness. So look, so you snuck something in there that if people are not listening, that they will miss. I have been on the entrepreneurial wagon for a while, so have a couple of people in the chat with me. But you said that you sold books to buy a computer, and in 90 days you hit 6 figures. You have to say more, because some of us are, and I realize that some of us being me, might be stuck in 5 figures or 4 figures because we believe that 4 figures is probable. We believe that 4 figures is possible. But how do you go from selling your books for your computer to 6 figures in 90 days? Come on, say more.
You know, it's so interesting when we get so stuck on titles, right? You don't even realize how transferable your skills are. I bet that there are amazing people watching who would probably be shocked to know all the event planning they do at the church absolutely for free if they were to ever have a side business doing it. How brides would pay 6 figures to please get this off my plate, or please coordinate for me. You know, we're looking so much sometimes into these buzzwords, right? Tech or Web3 or do NFTs or do crypto, or, you know, there's all these cool ways, but you may be undervaluing who you are and what you already bring to the table. And so I think it's incredibly important for people to, first of all, know that you already have everything in you that you need to succeed. Already, right now, put a bow on top, you know, you're good to go, just as you are. And so for me, what truly helped, you know, first, I'm so thankful I got to work with my husband. You know, he taught me so much. I remember when he told me about the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, I thought it was a parenting book. That didn't sound like a business book. I was like, this guy, why is he telling me to read this? But I was so coachable, even though I thought it was a weird parenting book. I read it and I was like, oh, not a parenting book, but
so not a parenting book.
And I think sometimes what I have also found is that I am able to generate, attract, however somebody wants to say it, a certain amount, because that's all I asked for, or that's all my goal needed. You know, if you want to take a one-time trip to Europe, that's going to push you in your business a certain way. If you want to do an around the world cruise to Europe, what would that push you to do? Are your goals, and I'm talking about non-negotiable goals, I'm not talking about fantasy level, that would be nice, maybe one day if I get lucky, if I win the lottery type goals. I mean, things that you have made yourself available for, that this is what I do. I'll give you an example. I know a bunch of vegetarians. I can give them the most expensive steak. They're not available for it. They're just not available for it, right? Might offer you I don't know, pork. I don't even eat pork, but the idea is not available for it.
Not available.
What if somebody for your own services now offered you pennies on the dollar? What would change if you were not available for it?
Oh,
What would change if this is your price, period? I know my value, I charge my worth, and this is what I'm available for. And anything less is stealing, robbery, armed robbery. This is what a Rolex
oh.
costs. It is not up for discussion. You pay this or you're stealing, right? So, have we made ourselves available for it in the name of helping other people,
Oh
being
my
liked?
goodness.
God forbid we say no, not now, not like this. You know, it is so important for us to check ourselves and our own worth and what we bring to the table. And for me, honestly, it wasn't even an ego thing, it was a lack of awareness. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. So if you have found yourself in that position, maybe you're not available for it. You just didn't know, right? So you have to do some of that homework. What is the market value of what you bring to the table? And how are you so different that maybe your market value is 10 times more? Because we're not just comparing watches equally, all right? If you're a Rolex, don't tell me what a Guess watch costs, okay? Like, you're not in that category, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And so don't stress so much over the business and the systems and the structures. You can hire that out, you can learn it, you can get a business partner. Like, there's so many solutions. First things first, you need to know what you are available for, and anything less is illegal, actually. It's stealing.
You got to stay here. And Leslie, hi Leslie. Leslie said that you're killing him. You're killing him. And you're killing me too. I think you're killing everybody right now because um so many of us have been acculturated to make
Mhm.
ourselves universally available. So that being unavailable is a sin.
Mhm.
Being unavailable is problematic.
Mhm.
So it now Miss Nordia talks about boundaries, and I think
Mhm.
that's big. And it's almost like they talk about in child psychology how if a child is not properly grounded during their foundational years, that they remain ungrounded and almost in a state of lostness forever. And while, not everybody has been abused, there are so many of us, especially those who have grown up in a religious background,
Mhm.
who have not been grounded in the concept of worth,
Mhm.
of our worth, especially around money, our worth around earning. And unless we are clocking in or something like that, then any kind of money assigned to what we do or what we bring to the table is almost robbery on this side. So you gotta talk about you being from an immigrant background. I
Mhm.
know that you had to work on this as well. How does one reestablish proper value and those boundaries to be able to say, hi, Clea. She went to Andrews with us.
I
Hi.
remember her.
um, how does one establish their boundaries?
Whew. Let me tell you, I work on this today daily. This is a daily thing. This is like
Mm.
taking a shower. You wouldn't say, I've taken a shower my whole life. I'm just gonna stop now. I'm good from here on out. Like, you're gonna have zero friends. Please take a shower. It's good for you. Focusing on this is really good for you. And there's actually a term for it. It's called wealth consciousness. And
Mm.
so the first thing is awareness. The second thing for me was truly understanding the difference, not just as an entrepreneur, not just as a female, as a minority, as a Christian, and everything by itself is a situation, but put together, whew, I
Yeah.
had to learn the difference between submitting and being subservient, because I did not know that thinking for myself could be acceptable, within the bounds of still being respectful to systems and structures that were intended for us to succeed. But sometimes people misinterpret the things that were intended for us to succeed, like the word, and so many other things. And when you think differently, when you interpret it differently, how dare you think of it that way because I said it was this way. So unfortunately, sadly, when people are not breaking this down properly, I find that people are just mistakenly making the choice of with or without the church, with or without friends. Oh, I can't have girlfriends. Women don't get me. They're just all jealous. Like, you, again, fall back into the or when you could be in the and, but the and still needs a really good foundation. And so I learned that I could still submit. I'm not saying, I hate the 10 Commandments. Don't tell me what to do. No, I think they're pretty cool. I think that they have pretty reasonable things on there. But at the same time, you can find depth or meaning in something where you know that you are not subservient and you can submit while still bringing your own confidence, your own competence, your own creativity, your own credibility, your own perspective, your own reality. Sometimes I'm getting advice from somebody from a world that doesn't exist today, or a world I don't get to live in. I just don't. There's people, they're everywhere. I'm just never going to be white enough for them. And I hate to be so crass and upfront about it, but I'm just, it is what it is. And so it is so important for you to distinguish when you're getting advice versus when you're getting orders, when you are getting support versus when someone's planting seeds of doubt. And none of that is possible if you're not available for learning for yourself, thinking for yourself, and being able to just distinguish a fine line. And I'm still learning every single day. I am still unlearning every single day. Like I never thought, you had to do X, Y, and Z. I had one coaching client. She had this big goal. She wanted to make millions. And I was like, cool, let's map it out. And then I said, why, by the way? And honestly, the only thing she said to me was like, she wanted to go to Bora Bora. And I was like, girl, it is not that expensive to go to Bora Bora. So like her first homework assignment as a coaching client was to look up a trip. And I told her, don't even flight coach. What would first class look like? And lo and behold, it, even at the highest expense, which she probably wouldn't have even wanted, she's a pretty chill lady, you didn't need to check this box or be a millionaire. You just had to buy your ticket and get on the plane and sit there. But many times we're taught that you have to be given some sort of golden ticket to be invited to the table. And look, there were many times in my life where I wasn't invited to the table, so I built a table. And then I created more chairs and I pulled up chairs for other people at my table if I wasn't welcome at another table. But that first, I had to learn how to build tables, right? You have to learn all these things. You have to give yourself permission. You have to be patient about gathering the materials. Sometimes people don't realize the work it takes to lead to generational curses. There's no way that then you can break it all down with one quick goal, right? Like if it takes me a whole year to gain weight and then I give it 2 workouts for me to have a 6-pack, everybody would be like, okay, girl, no, like, no, get off, this fantasy land. But how many times do we do it where we think that, I started an Instagram page and I didn't go viral. It must be a sign. It must be a sign. Well, who I'm praying to would never give me a sign via failure. I would get inspiration. I would get guidance. I would get so many other things. And you also have to get to the point where you're so clear in your walk with God that no other voice would confuse you. When I talk to my mom on the phone, even if her voice is raspy and she has a cold, I know it's my mom without her having to introduce herself. But if things are happening and you're wondering if it's God or if it's a coincidence or if it's this and that, then you need to get reacquainted to what that voice sounds like so that nothing can stand in there with a little costume pretending to be there for your good. And this is extremely important. You have to be so clear on what it is that you stand for, who you are, what you're available for, that if it's upside down, inside out, sideways, you still recognize it. You still know what it is and you can call it for what it is.
If anybody's watching without the sound on. They're gonna think I'm disgusted. Shaking my head.
You
Oh
lived
my
it. I know you're
goodness.
hearing it and you're saying, because I've lived it, and you're saying, oh, thank God I'm not crazy. Thank God this is happening to more than just one. That's why I'm so happy you're doing this series, so that we all share our experiences, and that community gives everyone that piece of strength, and it recharges your batteries.
You know, I'm gonna start talking about money for 2 seconds. Uh, I remember when I started the conversation with you about charging more. And you told me, you sat me down and we had a conversation about what it would take to make the type of goals that I was talking about. And I thought that I was saying something huge. I got to shout out my conference president. Hi, Dr. Tapp. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on, sir. But I thought about charging more. And when we talked about my goal, I thought that it would really require a lot. And you said no. I mean, and you always say these things as though you're not shattering like years and years of glass, but you just say, no, you just need to do this, this, and this, and you would have the goal. I didn't believe you. So it took a year or so. And I mean, I'm sorry, but I didn't. And I didn't think that people would actually respond to me making those types of well, being available in that way. Until I started talking to people and they were like, sure. And I think about how long I was afraid to show up at that level. And yes, it requires work. Yes, it requires research. It requires you to show up in a different way. But it's so much less work than having to live at a level beneath where you're supposed to be. So you stretch, but stretching is like, it doesn't take as much energy to stretch as it does to scrunch something down and to keep it compressed. And I feel like so many of us, and I see it resonating in the chat, that so many of us are spending lots of our energy trying to compress ourselves. And then when we stick out a little bit, then it's get back in there and compress yourself down in there. We only have a couple of minutes left, and I can't believe how quickly it went. If you're just watching, if you're just tuning in, you need to rewind this. You need to go back and watch. There's so much. If you don't have a journal, just go back and watch it. Please. Mrs. Eichner said it earlier, and she's talking about it from the pastor's wife standpoint. But I'm sure that a lot of people are here listening and saying, wow, I can have it all. I know that one thing we need to do is we need to Google wealth consciousness. You need to read everything about it and work on your mindset. What are some steps that people can take to start to make themselves available for more?
Such a good question. And see, I was kind of shoved into the situation because of life. And I have found that sometimes when the faucet closes, where there's not even a drip coming out, it's because it's time to go for the waterfall. Like, be done with the faucet, go for bigger. Anytime I'm missing a goal, the best solution is to go for a bigger goal. Let me tell you, if you need $1, go for 10. And if you miss your goal by 50%, you still made 5, right? You only needed 1. Like, you have to push yourself to do bigger. And sometimes no one has ever asked someone, what do you want? I have always been told what other people want. This is what the phone company wants. This is what the electric company wants. This is what the school wants for tuition. This is what the church needs. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's always a list of what everyone else needs from you. But what do you need from you? What recharges your batteries? Is it nature? Does nature recharge your batteries? Does travel? Does time with friends? What recharges your batteries? Find that. Find what really excites you, because let me tell you, I can teach you everything, but you still at the end of the day have to show up and do it. So what would you show up for? I probably wouldn't be that excited, to show up for a sports car. That wouldn't be that exciting for me. But finding something that I'm truly, truly passionate about. And a lot of you, especially if you have kids, you're going to be really tempted to think, oh, this is the responsible list. Pay off my kids' college tuition, pay off these student loans. No, that's not what I said. I said, what inspires you? What would wake you up in the morning without the alarm going off? What would make you work for something day after day after day before seeing the results? What do you want that excites you so much? What is it? And you see a lot of people trying to get to this, maybe with dream boards. You can make a collage for free on canva.com and have it as your screensaver on your phone. Anytime you open your phone, and I know everybody's opening their phones many times a day, okay? Versus walking around with a giant poster board. Keep those goals in front of you. Then I would make a list of all the people who I can relate to who have what I want. I need to remind myself consistently that it is possible, okay? Then I would figure out what did they do to live like that, and I would commit to doing it. I wouldn't commit to arguing with people. I have told people, okay, charge more. And they say, I'm going to start a TikTok account. And I'm like, okay, cool. But did you charge more? And they're like, I'm going to get a new step and repeat. I just got my website redesigned and I'm still like, but did you charge more?
No, we did not.
X, Y, and Z? And so you got to be coachable. I do have a free training. It's on my YouTube. It's called the Millionaire Mindset Series. And if you want to check it out, it's absolutely free. It's videos you can sink your teeth into. It's just training I did for my top leaders. And I decided maybe other people need this. And I put it on my new YouTube channel. And so that's super helpful. There are books I love, like The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich are extremely helpful. And there is just a power in unfollowing and blocking people who make you think the complete opposite. You can mute people on social media. Okay, just like in your shower, you don't want the shower head shooting out dirt when you're washing your hair. When you're trying to cleanse your mind and unlearn things and do things in a different way, do not allow the dirt to keep hitting you in the eye. Put yourself in a position to win. I know a ton of people would love to play and win the lottery. They never play though. Put yourself in a position to win. Do your part. And sometimes, guys, it's that simple. Dream big, really want it, and then go learn what it is that you have to do. But don't get so caught up on what you're learning, because there have been times where I have done my part and I've done the classes and I've done the marketing and I've done all these things. And it was as simple as bumping into someone in the elevator. But you have to be available for it all the time in front of everyone and not say to yourself, oh, suddenly I'm God's, manager and this is how he does things. No. You need to be available the whole time. You need to present yourself the whole time. So if I see you in the elevator, if I go to your Facebook page or Instagram page, if I run into you in church, I need to see just from talking to you what you are available for, who you are, who you help. How can I refer people to you? How can I connect you with others? You need to own it and be the person you want to become before you become it. Right? You cannot say, I'm going to start working out after the trials at the Olympics. After they say I can play in the Olympics, then I'm going to get a personal trainer. No, we would never say that. But for our goals, not now. I'll post more when I have more followers. I'm going to do more after I write the book. I haven't written a book because I don't have an audience, right? It's this vicious cycle. Cut the vicious cycle, say yes to yourself, and take a stand for an and, because you can have it all. Even at a time like this, you can have it all, and you were born for such a time as this.
There are so many millionaires being born right now. And we're not, well, I'm not going to go into that because somebody's going to say it's not about money, but whoever receives your rent is for money. Whoever receives your mortgage needs some money from you. Whoever it is that takes care of your children needs money. So at some point, money is going to have to be a part of this conversation. But know that there are people who are crossing all kinds of benchmarks right now and who are accomplishing everything that they want to accomplish. I want to say one other thing that you have shared with me that I have learned, and that is not to argue with people who
Mhm.
disagree about these things, because not everybody is going to have the same vision you have. You can't necessarily get mad because another person is not wearing their prescription glasses and you can see and they can't see what you see. But don't argue, because in going down that road, it also erodes the belief that you have for this. And it has been so incredible to see the feedback in the comments is apparently coming across, and I'm really happy that it's coming across for everybody. I put in the chat a link to one of Eileen's trainings. I was trying to get to the YouTube channel official link, but you can get to her YouTube channel from there. Her videos are amazing and you'll learn a lot from there. You can also find deep dive trainings at ileanharris.com. Those of you for whom there is a question, or if this is a value of yours, Ilean Harris is Seventh Day Adventist. So don't feel like you are venturing out of the fold to, connect with Ilean Harris. She is a faithful Seventh Day Adventist member of the
I'm a glad
body.
Venice.
She's a glad Adventist. Come on in here. So you can connect with her, and she is a safe individual to connect with. This one thing I love about Ilean is because she's actually connected to the Adventist Church and still has understood so many of these concepts. We're right at 6:01. I can't believe that we have talked all the way through this hour, but I just want to say thank you so much for the work that you do. You are probably, I want to say that you might be one of the first. I may know one other person who's doing this work who is a Seventh Day Adventist, but not
And
many Seventh
Matthew.
Day Adventists. Oh, well, excuse me. One other woman
Oh,
who does, and one other person who doesn't live in your house. Pardon me. Her husband, Matthew Harris, is also doing this work. She and her husband have a foundation, the Harris Foundation, isn't it?
yeah, it's the Ilean and Matthew Harris Foundation, and our goal is to help
Yes.
women and minorities learn about business. So maybe one day I could, if you guys want your church getting some cool Zooms and cool trainings, just reach out.
Beautiful. I mean, they're doing some really incredible work. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. Again, if you want to connect with her, you can go directly to her website, ileanharris.com. As you can hear, she is an incredible speaker, an incredible presenter. I'm sure that she would love for you to connect with her, but make sure that you're operating on a level on which she is available. Amen. So, oh my goodness, this is just incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on today. And I really hope that those who are listening either live or those who are going to watch the replay will listen and be coachable. Meaning, listen, take advice. Don't believe that you know everything. And I'm telling you from personal experience, when you are coachable and you're able to walk through and follow through on what you know is the right thing for you, that you will be blessed. Miss Ilean, thank you again for your time with us today. And I cannot wait to see all that God is going to do through you and through your family. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me, Lady Boss. So proud of you.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Stay by though. Well, I want to say thank you to each one of you for coming through on today. Wasn't that incredible? Listen, if you heard this presentation and you know that one of the nuggets is something that is powerful and needs to be heard, please share this video wherever it is that you see it. It's going to be on the YouTube channel, so you can share it without a person having to be on Facebook. That is something that I notice is important with some of us. So please feel free to share. If you go to the YouTube channel, please like and share. So make sure that you subscribe as well. And then you can hit the little bell to get a notification for when I am live again. It is my intent to be on Tuesdays at 5. But as a pastor, sometimes that does not happen. So I will try to keep up with you and let you know when I am coming live so that we can talk to more people who are doing these things. I mean, living out their purpose. And I mean, just pushing through the odds to do everything that they are empowered to do. Of course, we really, really appreciate all of the help that people have been giving to invest in this platform. And we want to do things at the highest level. And so if you want to invest in this platform, you can donate using any of these ways. You can go to Cash App, $Bloom Everywhere, or you can go to PayPal for the same username, Bloom Everywhere. You can also find me on YouTube, Dr. Lola Johnston, all one word. And then if you're interested, we will be having another challenge in March. Join.readytobloomchallenge.com, and we will be happy to receive you. I hope that you will take what you've heard today about living your best life, about wealth consciousness, about being available at higher levels, and implement it today. There's some people that you can unfollow right now. There are some things that you can say no to right now. You can Google wealth consciousness and begin to build up, or get one of the books that were recommended. But please, let's create a value of investing in ourselves so that we can show up in the highest ways possible. Thank you again for being here for Bloom with Lola Johnston, and we'll see you again next week. Take care.